Hi, I'm Ruby Bilger, and I'll be reading from Alexander Osang's Fast Hell. I'm going to read from my own sample translation, and I'll start right at the beginning of the book. I knew Uwe from New York, though like me, he was from East Berlin. I'm not sure where I saw him first, probably in the early aughts at a party at Solveig's, who came from near Dresden but had lived in Brooklyn for over 30 years. I had a small East German community in New York. My wife, of course, who grew up in Berlin-Lichtenberg, Solveig, who shortly before the wall fell had married a Jewish New Yorker who had spent his summers in socialism, Sabina, who came from a village outside Erfurt and left the country at the end of the 80s, her boyfriend Bert, who had been ransomed from an East Berlin prison after an attempt to flee, Kathleen from Gera, who worked in our cluttered office for a year despite looking like a movie star, a young pair of doctors from Thüringen who at some point moved on to New Mexico, and later, Elsa, who was actually named Sabina, who was from Eilenburg and had followed a monk to a temple in Manhattan. Uwe was one of them. I had no idea what he was running from or who he had followed. He stepped out of the maze of the big city to meet me. He was gay, bald, and owned a house in East Harlem that he'd won in some sort of city lottery. He spent his summers on Fire Island, where we also rented a vacation house. He owned a bungalow with 2 retired Bolshoi ballet dancers in Cherry Grove, the gay village on the island. Our house was in Oakleyville, where there was no one apart from us, an eccentric caretaker by the name of Sam, who was rumored to have had affairs with Yoko Ono and Greta Garbo, and a local hoarder named Chuck, who was skeptical of climate change, though his island was slowly but surely sinking into the Atlantic Ocean. Once, in the summer, we walked along the beach in the heat to visit Uwe in Cherry Grove, where he was sitting on his terrace in the shade and seemed to be awaiting us. When I arrived there, I felt as if I had only been gone a short while. Uwe was one of the people in whose presence I immediately started speaking my Berlin dialect. I never saw a man by Uwe's side. I only knew stories of his partners. They sounded mostly tragic. He told them to me with pursed lips and a wrinkled nose. But maybe I'm imagining that. It could also have been Solveig who told me about Uwe's unlucky love life, in her Saxon-American sing-song, her right hand incessantly fixing her hair. Once Uwe had had an affair with a German family man whom he had discovered in a Netflix film. A gay love story, if I remember rightly. How he had found the naked man from the film is a mystery to me, but the man came to America now and then, and Uwe paid for his plane tickets. Now that I mention it, I did see this lover of Uwe's at least once, at a birthday party, a brunch, at a restaurant on the Hudson to which Uwe had invited us. The man was handsome, but didn't seem especially trustworthy. He came from the Ruhr Valley, was married to a woman, and had a son. He wanted to go into the acting business, the real acting business, he said. He seemed like someone looking for contacts. I had the impression that Uwe didn't know his lover or the other birthday guests particularly well. He was warm and somehow distant with everyone, a guest at his own party. I, at any rate, knew barely anything about Uwe at that point. He was from Biesdorf, where his mother still lived. He called her Muttern. Muttern sent him clippings from the Berliner Zeitung now and then. What he knew about me he had gathered from the columns that I often wrote in that paper, about myself or the character of myself that I had crafted for them, the homeless traveler marveling at the world's possibilities. Uwe had a Bosch washing machine that was important to him. He washed his clothes with Persil. The scent reminded him of home, which I understood. Scents become more important the older a person gets. At some point, they supersede our memories. I only visited Uwe once in Harlem. I remember a gigantic house that he mainly rented out and 2 very fat cats. Maybe it was even 3. They were fat anyway. We sat in a small, well-lit room with a low ceiling. Everything seemed very clean. We ate canapés prepared by his mother, who was in New York for a visit. In my memory, the sandwiches were quartered and laid with salami, the tablecloth was wax and checkered, and the overhead light came from fluorescent rods. But that doesn't have to be true. It was 15 years ago. Maybe his mother wasn't even there. The tablecloth and tube lights could have come from a film about the East. What I know for sure is that Uwe showed me the washing machine that day, the one he often spoke about. The Bosch. On the shelf was the German laundry detergent, a jumbo pack. Everything was very clean and smelled like Persil. Of course, it also could have been Ariel or Weisseriese, but I'm pretty certain it was Persil. What's strange is that Persil wasn't the scent of our childhood in the East. Purcell was a scent of the West. Thank you.